Hello, this is Amphra, and welcome to the You Are My Sister video blog. I'm going to start blogging and writing as a blog, You Are My Sister, until I can get my show up and running. The You Are My Sister Talk Show. I've been talking about it for about 2 years consistently, and I've had a lot of false starts and hoping I could get it debuted because I really want to produce a very entertaining and informative show. However, my producer, Mr. James L. Penny of Penny Productions, he is seriously ill and he is recovering. Hopefully, he'll have a full recovery and be able to come back to the team as soon as possible so that we can. I've had a lot of people that I have already scheduled to be on the show because one of the philosophies, or the philosophy, truthfully, of the You Are My Sister talk show, as well as my books, is to question everyone and question everything, because I feel, and I know for sure my truth, that I've been and we've been as Black people so miseducated. Now, it wasn't intentional because our parents and our communities, they couldn't teach us what they did not know, what they had not been taught. But now we are in the information age, and we have access at our fingertips to education and knowledge and wisdom. So there's really no reason for us to be so impoverished and disenfranchised today, because we have the tools, the knowledge, the access available to us to educate ourselves and educate our children, especially about finances and relationships. Those are the two areas of life that we don't get any education on: how to manage our personal finances, how we can build wealth while we are living, and how we can build generational wealth that we can leave from our children and their children and so on. All of the other nationalities, the Asians, the Caucasians, the Europeans, the Middle Easterns, the Muslims, they have generational wealth. They work for themselves. They are entrepreneurs. But we here in America, as we look around, especially in the urban areas, in the Black neighborhoods, we're dying. Our neighborhoods are dying. There's very few Black businesses, but we got a lot of Black churches. And those are some of the questions that I'm going to be asking of our religious communities, of the congregations, of people in general. Is one of the main things that's been bugging me is this question about why aren't our churches helping our communities to prosper? Why aren't there as many Black businesses in the communities as there are Black churches? And I don't know about you, but every community that I've been in and that I lived in that are urban, we have a lot of Black churches. I can sit on my front porch right here in Inkster and literally walk to 3 churches and not even walk a fourth of a mile. I can almost put my finger on them. They're so close to me. But the area that I live in Inkster, Michigan, is impoverished. It is a, stepchild of the city of Detroit. And when I lived in Memphis, it was the same way. We have so many churches in a small area in our urban neighborhoods, but you can count the number of Black businesses on one hand. I just don't understand how our religious leaders and the congregations can be so blind as they walk into and out of our churches. Are they not looking around? Do they not realize that their churches are sitting right across the street from each other, diagonal to each other, next door to each other, but the businesses in our communities are owned by somebody else? Except for the beauty and the barber shops and maybe a fish market here or there, we don't own our own communities. But we got a lot of churches. We do a lot of singing and shouting and praising and worshiping, but that joy, that spiritual connection, that sense of godliness has not manifested into prosperity. So those are some of the questions that I'm going to ask on my talk show and my blog. I don't want to offend anybody on my show. I'm not trying to conform you, convert you, or convince you to believe anything that I believe, say, or information that I share with you. I only want you to start thinking. Ask the critical and conscious questions when we go to church, when we fellowship, when we commune together. Should we be doing something more than just singing and shouting and praising and worshiping and giving our wealth to everybody else? The other nationalities, they wait on us to come and patronize their businesses so that we can go to church. They are there waiting for us to do our hair, our products before we go to church. When we get out of church, we've been there all day. And then we take our monies back out into the communities and we go out to eat and patronize other restaurants and places. Something is wrong. And I used to be a part of it. I'm not anymore because my eyes became open. I'm aware. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere. I've been in this religion and I've been in this faith and I've been in this church for all of these years, yet none of us are progressing. But we're here all the time. We always have programs, praise and worship programs. Prophets are coming in and they can't prophesize anything but how many people are going to give X amount of dollars. Something is wrong. So one of the questions that I'm going to always ask and do surveys on my website, and I want your opinion. I'm going to want your help because I want to know, what is the state of the Black church? What is the state today of the Black church? Are we truly making progress? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are we holding our religious leaders responsible and accountable for what's going on right next door to them in the areas where the churches themselves physically sit? Are they helping the congregation to become empowered? Because you can be saved all day, but if you're not empowered, saved people need rescuing all the time. They are victims. But at some point, we need to move from being saved to being empowered. And there is a big difference because people love to say, I'm saved, I'm saved, I'm saved. I'm not knocking that. But at some point, once you've been saved, there should be some growth where you become empowered. And once you become empowered, you start to create. And when you start to create, it's because you become in tune with your Creator. And so those are the type of lessons that I feel is missing in our church today and why we are not prospering. So you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. I'm not trying to put anybody down or say don't go to church. We should go to church with responsibility. We should go to church with a giving spirit more than just paying our tithes, because I now believe that anything that you put your money into, you should be able to get your money back out of it. There should be some return on your investment. And we've got to hold our churches more accountable. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking about continuously on the You Are My Sister show. And it's not to put people down for going to church. It's not to say to stop to go to church, because the church is our greatest resource in our communities. Yet, they're not doing their part, in my opinion. And I welcome clergy, pastors, preachers, the good reverends, the, bishops and the apostles and the lay ministers to, tune in. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I'd like to know your opinion, because something's wrong. We've been Christians since slavery, but we're in 2015, and the only thing that is prospering in our churches is that the churches themselves are getting bigger. The congregations are growing, the buildings are getting bigger, but the wealth is not spreading out into the communities, and I want to know why. And you should want to know why. You should want to know where your tithe is going to. You should want to know, how are you helping people directly? And then how can the church help me to start my own business? Because I'm about entrepreneurship. And if you haven't noticed, the world is leaning and going and steering us into an entrepreneurial state. And if you're not thinking about being a business person for yourself, you're going to be left behind when factories are not hiring anymore and companies are doing business to business and not having employees, but working with people who have their own business. And you don't know how to manage your health care, your taxes, and those type of things. So we've got a lot to talk about. So today is my first day. I hope you enjoyed this preemptive video blog about what I'm going to be talking about. I'm not sure just yet if I'm going to do a weekly blog a daily blog. I'm going to kind of let the audience steer me as to what you'd like to see. As we grow, as we talk about different subjects, you can, inbox me, or you can write a comment or what you'd like for me to talk about, or questions that you would like me to ask the audience. There's no limits here. I'm very open-minded, and I don't have a set of rules of what I'm going to talk about, or when, or how. I may do some poetry. I may have people on. I'm not really sure just yet. I just know that I can't sit still anymore. I've got to put my purpose in the universe and see what happens. Watch it manifest. Okay. So thank you for the first video blog, and I will be talking to you later. This is Amphra, and you are my sister. Thank you.